This is the You, Me, and BTC podcast.
Cryptocurrency decrypted.
Welcome to episode 67. This week, we're touching on two topics that might not be as different as some people think: politics and games. For starters, we'll chat about Rand Paul, America's first presidential candidate to accept Bitcoin donations. Many liberty-oriented people laugh at the idea of a libertarian running for office, but we'll see if we can spot any benefits. Then later in the show, we'll discuss the idea of using Bitcoin in video games. It seems like cryptocurrency would integrate wonderfully with virtual economies, but could there be some drawbacks? Would a game be unfair or less fun if rich people could easily pay real money to level up faster? Your hosts today are Tim Baker, John Stuart, and myself, Daniel Brown. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show today. Another episode of the You, Me, and BTC podcast. This is your Bitcoin and Liberty podcast. Thanks for joining us. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Tim Baker
and John Stewart.
Hopefully that was, the past minute or two was kind of exciting or something. I started listening to some of our older episodes, and I realized that my intros just plain suck. Well, maybe they're not as bad as I say they are, but I don't know. I didn't like them. I read way too slow, way too blandly. So hopefully whatever you heard over the past few minutes was a little bit better.
Well, Daniel, it was a little bit better until you spent the last half of that apologizing for something that you didn't need to talk about. But no, it was kind of better. It's okay, Daniel. You don't have to justify stuff to people.
I think you're also misunderstanding slightly. I don't mean like my intro as in what I just said. I mean like my intro in the first minute of the show, which I'll record later, so it's not what I just did.
Okay.
Anyway, so a couple things today. Actually, it was also the fact that I re-listened to some shows. It reminded me, in one of them, probably 5 or 6 episodes back, it was just Tim and I, and we mentioned just briefly how it might be fun to do an episode basically on pay-to-win games. You know, games where you can spend money and get better stuff, and maybe even win the game. Just, there's a lot of games out there like that. And it's also interesting, to think about how amazingly easily you could do that with Bitcoin just because of the nature of Bitcoin. So we're going to talk about, we're kind of going back to some of our older styles, just picking a fun topic and, not so much news and stuff, just talking about our opinions and stuff. Some of our early episodes were like that, but before we jump into that, though, we do have a little bit of just a quick news thing, interesting thought. That I guess we'll let Tim chat about it.
Well, first we do want to plug the Don't Expose Evil meme contest with anti-war. We want more people to get out there, put some actual art out there. We were looking at some of the entries. I mean, I guess like some of our memes, I'd rather see something of like more of like a painting. I think there's only one that's like that. There's only how many memes on there, Daniel? Like 4?
I only saw, I think 4. I mean, it's possible he hasn't put them all up. But yeah, there's room for 10 winners, so...
Oh, yeah, you need a lot more than that.
Well, my point was that if anybody wants to make one, you probably have a pretty good chance. There's Bitcoin silver prizes, T-shirts, Liberty Me memberships, all kinds of stuff, so...
Is there a thing that says, like, did you agree to something that said that we can't win stuff?
I mean, no, we didn't agree to that, but I mean, I don't...
It's kind of expected.
Yeah, I don't think we would want to do that.
Wait, say that again?
Tim was asking if we could win the contest.
Oh.
Or I was asking if he agreed to anything that said we couldn't, and then he said, no, not really, it was just kind of not
I mean,
something
yeah,
you do.
because we're going to be the judges for our 5 runner-ups, so that would be dumb if we could just pick ourselves.
That's even better. I don't have to try it all. This is a perfect contest.
You can make a fake online identity and try your hand at anonymously submitting a meme, and we'll see if
that wouldn't be that hard.
We'll see if you can convince me and John that yours is the best.
I don't need to get the best. I just need to get like 10th.
Yeah, that's
well, I'm
true.
saying this for anyone listening. You can just make one, and if no one else makes any, you're at least going to get something.
Yeah, so that's...
But there's about 2 weeks left, I think, Daniel?
Yep,
right?
Well, maybe, a week and a half by the time everyone hears this.
Yeah.
And it's at bitcoinnotbombs.com is kind of the home base. And I'm pretty sure it's pretty featured there, so you'll see it when you go there. bitcoinnotbombs.com. Tim, tell me about Rand Paul.
Okay, Rand Paul is the son of Ron Paul, who was, in like 2012, 2008, he was the guy who brought a lot of libertarian people into doing the Republican kind of thing, because he ran both times as a Republican. His son also runs as a Republican before. Like, they're both more of a libertarian bent, but Rand is less than his father. I don't know if he, like, actively considers himself a libertarian. He's just probably more right than conservatives as far as, like, sticking to an actual constitutional thing. I mean, he still believes in a lot of stuff that doesn't kind of jive with libertarian philosophy, and he'll support a lot of things that even his father wouldn't support. But yeah, that's kind of who he is as a politician. I don't know if that's what you wanted, or we can cut to...
Well, no, yeah, that's worth talking about. But yeah, let's hear the big news. Well, it's sort of big news.
Well, Rand Paul he's formally announced his bid for the 2016 Republican presidential nomination, and he's begun accepting Bitcoin donations for his presidential campaign.
Yeah, that's what, I don't know, I guess in some ways it's big news, but for me I never cared much about this stuff. Even I'm really involved in like the liberty community and stuff, but I hardly know anything about Ron Paul. I don't know what his policies are. I don't know what he tried to do.
It's good. I mean, it's not necessarily good. I mean, you should probably know just for the sake of learning something, but at least you're not what they make fun of people, or they did, Paul Bots, where it was like anything he did, they defended. Even like he even one time went after another website, I believe, with some kind of a intellectual property thing, and people were defending him for that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's weird.
Was anytime you have a leader like that in anything, and they do something stupid, because people are always going to make mistakes. Doesn't really matter what the principles are.
Yeah, it's weird though, because he's supposed to be this like gigantic head of the figurehead of the liberty community, and I went to the Students for Liberty conference a couple weeks ago, and he was there, and a lot of people were kind of head over heels that they got to meet him in person. But at the same time, first of all, he's involved in politics. He was running for president, and a lot of people would hate something like that. And also, just even aside from that, I've just heard a lot of people in the liberty community, pretty big names, just saying, like, really he wasn't as great as everyone seemed to think. So,
well, what Ron Paul did was he brought, in 2008 and 2012, he brought a lot of younger people into more of a libertarian view, but still in the Republican Party. Before he had run as a libertarian, he may have run as a Republican at some point in between those, but mostly, he was part of the Libertarian Party. He brought people in 2008 and 2012, and he brought them to libertarianism in that kind of, like, the big L, like the party,
right,
kind of.
Right.
Or he brought into kind of a minarchist, like a very minarchist, not conservative, just very minarchist, like, just non-interventionist. Have the military, have the police, but have it be all defensive. Still have the borders, close off the borders. Or not close them off, but, like, don't free them up too much either. It didn't really seem like. And then it was then some people kept on looking at it and started applying it and deciding that they thought that it made more sense to go deeper into the liberty thing and going to more of an anarchist thing.
Yeah, I don't think I would. I mean, I don't want to speak for Tim, but it's probably true of him too. I definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Ron Paul. And I think that's the main thing, is that he kind of shocked people, and he reached a lot of people who had never heard anything like the things he was talking about before. And whether you think he goes far enough with what he believes or not, I think one thing that you can say about him is that he's always been, like, he knows what he believes, and he just says it, and he, like you talk about him being involved in politics, but he's not, he doesn't act like most politicians. He's pretty consistent.
He like runs, and then if he stops, and then he comes back later, and he worked as a doctor in and out of that. And,
I see him almost more of as a cultural figure than a politician.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and I think that's definitely good. What I will say is this, and this is actually something that I was actually just texting you kind of about this last night, Tim, so that's kind of weird. But I kind of realized recently, like, as much as I wish that everyone would just smash the state and just be done with it, it's still a good thing to have people, you know, halfway there, to have people, to have big L libertarians or anything like that. Because I guess the bottom line is just that if you're going to get upset with somebody for being a little bit statist, then you're going to get upset with everyone, because everybody has flaws, and everybody, you know, you can call yourself an anarchist as much as you want. You probably aren't going to be exactly what you say you are.
No, you're never going to fully and completely comply with the non-aggression principle or whatever ruling you follow.
So yeah, and once you realize that kind of idea, then it's like, well, then I guess it must be, at least, maybe it's not perfect, but it's definitely helpful to have a libertarian politician. I mean, yeah, it's still a politician, but if he's got his head in the right place, you know, or at least partly in the right place, and if he's bringing tons and tons of people into the space who are then going to start to understand more and move even farther into the right space, I mean, yeah, that sounds like a great thing. So
yeah, and I think a lot of times we try to draw lines between things that are too hard or lines that aren't even there, when in reality every single person is going to believe something slightly different, and in different situations they might change their mind. Like, this happens in everything. Like feminism, there's I don't even know how many different types of feminism there is. I don't even want to know. But like even within anarchism, I like you see people disagree about stuff all the time.
Look up a Wikipedia of all the different isms of anarchism.
Yeah, and like over different things that happen, everybody has a different interpretation. Everybody believes different things. I think, like, and take it even further, I don't think people should hate even people who are like radically for the state, because I'm sure you still have some beliefs in common with them about something.
Oh yeah. I hope you didn't think I was saying that you should hate that kind of person.
No, like, not hate, but I think don't even necessarily think less of them.
Right. No, I can definitely.
I mean, unless they're just being like completely
obstinate.
I don't know if I think less of them or if I think less of people. It's more I'm just kind of scared of them a little bit whenever I hear that they're like, automatically, if I hear someone is like very pro-military, very pro-police, I'm kind of a little bit standoffish then, because I'm like,
well, I think
kind of bothers me a little bit. I mean, part of it's because it's just me being annoying, and maybe I'm just telling myself that it's because I'm kind of a little bit scared of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the people that I would tend to look down on more or be more afraid of would be more the people who don't know very much about it, and they kind of just have an opinion without...
Yeah.
Like, if I heard someone who was, like, radically pro-government and, like, even, like, wants a big government, like someone really far to the left or something like that, or really democratic, liberal, whatever, somebody like that, I would respect them more if they acknowledge all the problems that it has. They just think that we can fix them. I think that's where like, that's where I would disagree with them. I say, well, I don't think you can.
You do. Yeah. It's like I can tolerate liberals who are like, it's still going to be messed up, but we think it's better to do this way, instead of just going, no, just if you would just pay this more stuff, like, it would work. There was like, yeah, it might not work, but, well, there's like, and they'll pull up their own statistics, and you pull up your own statistics, but at least you can, as long as, like, when people at least accept that they might be wrong, or the possibility that they might be wrong, it makes the conversation easier. It doesn't make it as fun to listen to if you're listening to people debate. Like that, I don't want to listen to two people get along normally. But
yeah, listen to two people. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, like, I really understand like that. Like, I mean, sometimes it's not bad if you get like the right people, like some podcasts, but if it's just like two like political guys who are dry completely besides that, it's just, yes, I understand your point. Yeah, no, I do too. I'm glad that we respect each other.
Now what do we talk about? Yeah, no, I'm sure we definitely do that kind of thing. We're not professional dissenters. So.
No, sometimes I just argue with you. I don't always have problems with what you're saying. I just do it sometimes to argue with you.
Well, yeah, I think you might not be a professional dissenter, but Tim and me might be.
I love arguing, Daniel. I do it with everybody. I do it with my family all the time for no reason at all.
Yeah, you texted me once how I really should start disagreeing with you sometimes. So I tried to tell you that you're not going to be the best, and you kept telling me that there's hope that you'll be the best, and I'm like, just admit it, Tim. You'll never be the best.
I mean, there's obviously a possibility.
Just the best, or what? Or the best at something?
The best at anything.
Nobody's ever gonna be.
The only thing you'll be the best at is like the best Tim Baker that lives where you live and eats what you eat and does what you do, and
yeah, but you can always do better.
I know. We'll
you can always do a little bit more.
now he's like saying that he won't be the best.
We'll figure it out sometime, Tim. Hey guys, I want to tell you about Wall of Coins, a brand new and very handy service for trading Bitcoin. The platform is designed to enable anyone to get their hands on some Bitcoin. Buyers are quickly connected to an authorized, trusted seller within the Wall of Coins network. Just set a dollar amount for your order, safely pay at a bank near you, and you instantly own more Bitcoin. Buyers don't even have to create an account, so anyone can have access to Bitcoin. Got some extra coin lying around? With Wall of Coins, you can sell it for cash, available immediately in your bank account. Visit wallofcoins.com right now to see just how easy it is. So the other thing that we wanted to talk about today, I mentioned it earlier in the show, and yeah, it's something we brought up just kind of in passing a couple episodes ago and thought it would just be an interesting idea. And it's also, like I said, something that kind of brings us back to our early episodes, which, were really fun. We just pick a topic. We didn't get into quite as much news as we do now, although we did some. But yeah, we just pick a topic and just go on and on about it, which we love to do. That's part of the reason we started this podcast, is because we love to go on and on about Bitcoin. So, but the idea, the thing we wanted to talk about is the concept of being able to win games, or at least do far better in games, like multiplayer, role-playing games, stuff like that. The ability to do better by paying. And we're just going to talk about whether that's good or bad, fun or not fun, more or less enjoyable, stuff like that. Now, one of the reasons that I think this could be, important in the Bitcoin space is because Bitcoin would work absolutely perfectly as a game currency. I mean, it's already online, it's already easy to transfer, it's already built into the internet. So it would be no trouble at all to get something like Bitcoin built into a multiplayer game. I mean, some people have already done that. I mean, it's like a role-playing game, like wrapped up with a casino. Like you join the game and do mini games and bet Bitcoins and stuff. So that exists, and I've heard of Minecraft servers that use Bitcoin. So this is definitely on the horizon. I would be absolutely surprised if this didn't come about in some form and become kind of mainstream or something. So this is something that could happen, is, kind of having real money in a virtual economy. And just a quick plug, we had a conversation about kind of game economies and virtual currencies with, his name was Edward Castronova, and he wrote Wildcat Currency. It's a book. That was, I want to say, episode 25. It was right around there if you want to listen. But anyway, I guess I'll open it up to Tim and John if you have any thoughts just on the whole idea of being able to transfer. I guess the core of it is just being able to transfer real money into a virtual economy, which if you used Bitcoin, that's what you could do. I could have a job, I could make, $100,000 a year, and I could dump, half of that into a video game and get really good at that video game. And I don't know, any thoughts on that? Would that be fun or less fun? Do you think it's a bad idea for developers to allow or encourage that? Just, I don't know, tell me what you think.
For games that already allow it, or what?
Well, I mean, it could be either way. It could be an existing game that implements that, or it could be an entirely new game that runs entirely on Bitcoin. I mean, either way, is there a difference that you see?
Well, I was just meaning, like, if you're saying they try to add it to new things, but, I mean, I don't see why it would be a bad thing, because there's already currency in the game, then I mean, most online games have currency that you have to somehow buy, like World of Warcraft, or you buy, or you can't find it in the world, can you? You have to buy it.
No, I mean, I'm sure a lot of games have two different kind of currencies, one that you buy with real money and one that you find in the game, and you do different stuff with different currencies. But that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's, well, the reason that the developers do that, and the reason they discourage the use of they discourage you from trading the virtual money. They don't want you to trade virtual money for real money, because they want to keep their economy closed. Because the more control they have over their economy, the easier it is for them to sell you the currency themselves, or the real money currency, or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
They want to have a lot of control over the economy if they can, because that gives them a ton of opportunity to make money by selling you a certain kind of currency or items or whatever. So
yeah, and they can completely control the supply, demand, or
exactly,
not demand, but
yeah.
they can control supply down to exactly what they want.
Yeah, so on the one hand, it's a closed system. It's a very heavily manipulated system, but it's completely voluntary too. I mean, I don't have to play that game if I think it's a ripoff.
Yeah,
I don't have to win that game if I think it costs too much. So, in that sense, there's nothing wrong about either way, because if it's a closed system, I can opt out. Maybe it's dumb, and I just don't want to deal with that. So that's completely okay in a way. But if it's an open system, that could theoretically be more fun if you're rich. It could also theoretically be a whole lot less fun if you can't spend money on games. So, I don't know. It's not so much about what's allowable or what's not allowable. Nobody's forcing anybody to do anything. So I guess more importantly, it's just which would you rather play? And it's a tough question, because we talk about all the time how much of a cheapskate I am, so...
Or we might be heading back, like, it might just become like another cost. Like some kids used to not be able to afford video games. Now it's not because they can't afford the games, it's because they can't afford to just play online for it. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, you have to have a certain amount to at least play lower. But I don't know. I feel like people aren't going to spend that much, but I don't. You said, you know someone who plays World of Warcraft, right?
Yes.
He sold stuff, correct? Like he made stuff in there for people. Or something like that? Okay.
And he could make money, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know anyone who plays. So I don't know how much money the average users spend beyond you pay for a subscription, right?
Right, and that's that's an important thing too, because some people might pay to play for fun. Some people might just put a bunch of money in, try to become good, and be proud that they're number 360 on the rankings, Tim, because you're never going to be the best. I'm sorry, but you're not. But 360, for a game with millions of players, that's an insane rank. That's amazing. But anyway, so some people might do that for fun, but another aspect is that people could put a bunch of money into the system and get a bunch of money out of the system. It works both ways. I mean, if you wanted to, you could make investments. You could level up your character a whole bunch, and then by being the best, you could get a bunch of money back out of the system. And that's the kind of game I would love to play. And I don't know if there are any that... Well, no, I'm sure there are games out there where that works. One of the best ones I've heard of is EVE Online, which
have to have such high security.
You mean like protecting your computer?
No, like the people running the servers.
Why?
Just because I mean, wouldn't that be pretty like that high of a concentration of wealth?
I guess. I mean, it's that. I don't think it's anything extraordinary, though. I mean, a bunch of companies handle wealth. I mean, there's Bitcoin exchanges and all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, but you're dealing with like a running interactive program.
No,
so
no,
you're having
no,
to keep that running too.
I can sort of see that, but it's also centralized. So if something goes wrong, they can just
shut it down.
They can just reverse, transactions and. Yeah, I don't think it's really that big a deal. I mean, I'm sure they try and secure it, obviously, but I don't think it's as big a deal as like an exchange or something.
I could see Bitcoin being good for, like, if stuff started going in the more direction of, you could just have one, like the Bitcoin, just the currency, it could just go across games, like if people started to do that more.
Well, that would be really cool to transfer money directly from one game to the other. But I mean, theoretically, that's already possible, just because if you're using dollars and to spend money on games, you can spend it on whichever game you please. So, but
all this is doing is just cutting out the middleman. Or not cutting out the middleman, it's just cutting out the conversion.
Yeah, but also,
and I'm sure
you're right about the conversion, but it's also, it's more than that, I think. It's like what I said, right now a lot of game economies are really closed and really manipulated, but I would like to see one that's completely open.
It's open, yeah.
There's no trade is forbidden. You can do whatever you want. And I know games exist out there like that. It's just I don't know how good they are, and I don't have time to play them a ton, but I just want to see that happen more, and I want to see it happen with Bitcoin, I think.
The problem with those kind of games that are just completely open is because in real life you started as a baby, but people protect you naturally and don't just bash your head in. Whenever you started as a level 1 in a game where there aren't any ways to stop people from killing you when you're lower, they're just going to do it just because that's what people just do. Unless you get like a grace period.
No. Well, yeah, a lot of games do exactly that. But no,
but if you're taking all those things away, I don't know why you necessarily would. I guess that's not really what you're saying.
I think your opinion of people is probably too low. People love newbies.
It's a video game.
Yeah, but you can't get anything out of a newbie. They don't have anything for you to...
I guess, no, it depends on what kind of game you're playing, too.
Yeah, but I absolutely think that...
I'm used to Xbox, Daniel.
I think you've just watched the World of Warcraft episode of South Park too many times.
I think
How
do you kill that wishes?
I think what would happen is, you'd join a game and you would get friends. You would join a clan. They would give you stuff, help build you up, and once you became better, you would be one of them and you would help them out. So I don't think.
But I don't like games like that. I like games where people stab each other in the back.
No, I mean, yeah, that could absolutely happen too. But I don't think you would be as vulnerable as you think, because you have nothing to give other people except.
I think it's one of these things where I'm just scared of everyone else doing stuff to me that I constantly think about doing to other people.
Yeah,
it's gotta be that, because I'm always paranoid.
I did that in.
So if you were playing a game, you would just kill all the newbies?
No, I don't think I would. Like I haven't ever really played a game long enough that I've been in that position, but I don't think I would. But I very well might. I might just be like, okay.
I was playing a board game last night, and I got some reasonable points at the very beginning. So I'm like, all right, I'm sort of well off. So literally the rest of the game, I'm just gonna troll people. I'm gonna block people. I'm gonna cut people off. I'm just gonna troll everybody. It was kind of fun. They got mad at me, but I got second place, so it doesn't count, because I'll never be the best, Tim.
You could have been the best if you just tried a little bit harder and put fucking everybody else.
I was never really into pay-to-win games very much. Like, if I play a game, it's generally more... Well, I'm not into multiplayer games at all that much. But if I'm going to play a multiplayer game, it's more like... I don't know. I don't get satisfaction out of being able to be better than people just because I paid more money. Like, I'd want it to be more about that you've put so many hours into the game or something. But at the same time, I mean, I think it's cool that people are into games like that or whatever. That's fine. But I mean, for me, it's more like the fun of playing the game, or like being good because you spent so much time and got skill. But also the thing about being able to take money out is, I mean, I never really thought about that much, but a game like that could be pretty cool, I think. Maybe even if you had a game where you couldn't put money in, but you could cash out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the trouble with that, though, is then that means the developers are the ones putting up all that cash out money.
I mean, if you're doing something like with Bitcoin, somehow mining might be able to work into that or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of possibilities, but that's actually, I think it's a huge
Or like
point.
you play a flat rate. Like you pay a subscription.
Okay.
And you can... Yeah, that's almost like it's almost like a poker game. Like everybody antes.
Right, and then part of it goes back to the people who do the best. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
This is why I like the idea of gambling games with like multiplayer ones where you gamble, because you get the money in there, and I think people just sometimes like just putting money in there, and it makes it more fun. But I mean, I've never played it, but someone integrated it, or at least they were. I heard they were, where they were going to be having online, like Halo matches, but have it be you bet and you get a certain amount of money if you win or if you kill people. And I think Bitcoin would also work pretty well with something like that, or across. I mean, that's kind of what that would be, where it would work.
Yeah, that's
just across all the different games, especially with the bigger companies, where you kind of just have like, not like, it'd be less official, actually professional gaming or something like that. But then they'd probably try to shut that down, so Microsoft probably wouldn't be allowed to do that, but I know people are already doing it.
No, yeah, that is... I feel like I might have... Maybe it's the same thing you're talking about, Tim. I feel like I might have seen it
on Adam Kokesh's show.
Yeah, something about this. But that is... betting is one thing, and if you win, you get money. But if you were able to integrate it so much that, every time you got a kill, you got a little bit of money, like in a first-person shooter, so,
Oh, yeah, run around playing Call of Duty, just get
Yeah, that would be insane, and then you get a kill streak and you get more money. I think that people would have a ton of fun with that, but...
Yeah, just like with what I was saying before, I definitely think I would be more into playing a game like that, where it's more achievement-based rather than just like...
Yeah.
I don't know, it seems with like World of Warcraft and RuneScape and a lot of that kind of stuff, it's like... It's less about the things that you do, and it's more about the things that you get, or like the things that you have. Like, I remember playing RuneScape, and I never paid for it, but it was just like your status of how cool you were or whatever was just like, you had this sword or whatever.
Yeah.
It was never anything like in Halo where like you didn't pay money and you didn't get any money for anything, but it was like people in that your status would be like, I got all these medals because I killed like 500 people in a row without dying or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's actually like more of an achievement. I that's just more fun to me.
Yeah. And I think the idea of having something achievement based is huge, because what I was going to say a few minutes ago is how your point about, trying to enjoy the game instead of just putting up money and being the best. That's what gaming is for. It's about having fun. It's about, competition is fun and all that stuff. So if it's as easy as just putting up $50 and all of a sudden being the best, that's not fun. I mean, even if you can get a thrill from being the best, but it's a completely different kind of fun, and it probably won't be as beneficial to people. So I was going to, say that might be a really good argument for not having an open economy that connects to the real world. But I think this achievement-based idea kind of remedies that, because then it is still fun, it is still competitive, it is still achievement-based, but there's also real money involved, and I think that'd be a blast. And yeah, I mean, I guess the main difference is just that you have money coming out of the system as well as going in. That's the main difference. And as long as it can go in and out, I'm all for it, because that also remedies my cheapskate, habit, because if I'm lucky, I'll instead of just spending money, I might actually be able to make money. So,
or you'll lose it and you just don't care about it whenever you do it.
Like every time I play poker.
As long as it's fine, as long as it's fun.
Oh well, yeah. That's actually that is a good point. Yeah, because even if you do lose it, you have a ton of fun.
I think we're gonna make some World of Warcraft fans maybe unhappy, because there's gonna be something fun about that stuff that everyone gets addicted to it.
What do you mean? Why would they? Why do you think they'd be unhappy?
No, because we were saying like, I don't know, nothing, man.
Well, does it work that way in World of Warcraft where you can buy your way to the top?
A little
because
bit.
I know it was
much.
I didn't think it was like that as much in World of Warcraft. I remember RuneScape being a lot like that.
I think World of Warcraft, like, one of the reasons why so many people like it is because it's balanced, I think. Like, even, you don't have to put in a lot of money. It's just like I think it's more like if you're buying stuff for, like, customizing your character, probably.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can buy, like, different outfits and I'm sure you can buy better stuff, but not as much as...
Yeah, and I do like that model. And I know a lot of companies follow that model because they understand that it kind of sucks to get the best stuff just by paying money. So yeah, they do exactly what you said. Instead of selling stuff that will make you the best, they sell customizations, they sell aesthetic stuff, they sell, DLC. So
yeah, I think that works too, because like what you're saying about there must be some kind of thing that people enjoy about that. I think it's more just like of a status thing.
That's like the ranking. I think I've heard that's like
at that point, like people who are just paying to be the best, it's not that they care about having fun by playing the game. They just want some kind of recognition. So I mean, for something like where you're just getting special items that don't necessarily like make you better than everyone else,
really
they're
mean
just
that much. Yeah,
or like DLC or things like that. For that, it probably works for those people too. So I guess it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's kind of the best of both worlds for a closed system. And then if you do open it up to more, in and out real world currency, I really do like the idea of just achievement based rewards. So you put money in, maybe you get stuff. You at least get like maybe a subscription, but maybe you can get items too. Maybe you can just get like tickets or like entries into matches and stuff. But no matter how it works, you put a little bit of money in, and if you're good, you get money out. I love that idea. And I think, with Twitch and everything, the idea of watching competitive gaming has become a huge thing recently. Just streaming it online for everyone to see. People love watching that. And that would also, if there's money involved, that should also make that a whole lot more exciting. And, you know, a business, really, you know, if people are making money and entertaining people at the same time, that's a pretty cool combination, because it's fun to be entertained, it's fun to entertain people, and it's fun to make money. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it just creates a whole other economy.
Yeah.
And that's always good. It just gets money flowing.
Yeah, and it's something that Bitcoin should really, really help make happen. So thanks for listening to episode 67. All of the music in today's show was from John Stuart. Remember to check out this week's show notes at youmeandbtc.com and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the idea of having a real currency in a video game. We'll see you next Thursday.